my team wins a big game.
What's up, Dip Nation? My name is Dave. Welcome to the Too Much Dip podcast. I'm alone in the studio today. Dylan's out. So it's just me and producer Randy. Randy, say hi so I don't feel so weird.
Hi, David.
Very good. You did a lot with that airtime. You did what I asked. I'm not judging. KJ's here. And by here, I mean on the screen, live from Madison, Wisconsin, bringing the heat, KJ Ellis. Hello.
Hello. You were probably one of the few that asked Randy to talk to them so they don't feel weird, but I respect it. It typically has the opposite effect, but no. I'm just saying.
He's just joking.
Just joking. Gonna miss Dylan today because I feel like we've got a few different things that are right up his alley.
He's chiming in via the text on some of these stories, and I'm like, man, I wish you were here to really drive it home. Really give out like a blunt take that clips well, and people are gonna absolutely flame or love.
I think he's still like reading the case debriefs from like the Ed Sheeran, Marvin Gaye plagiarism lawsuit. He was real big on that, I think, right? You don't even know what it is. Don't worry.
I mean, I know. I'm very familiar, very confused. Is he more of a Marvin Gaye guy or an Ed Sheeran?
It's just something I saw on the internet recently. But
it was big for songwriters, dude.
Artists everywhere needed to take notice. I've got a little bit of breaking news.
Okay.
At the young age of 30 years and 6.
It's a weird way to say that.
I have accomplished 2 firsts. Well, actually, one's not a first. One first. I've visited, I've been to Lambeau Field. Checked that off the Wisconsin list last week.
Okay. Was this a work-related trip?
It was a work-related trip. It was a conference. Very chill sitch. I'm a big conference guy. I was in Austin for a conference in Green Bay. And probably won't have another till like next year or something. But I'm here to tell you, I think that when people who are not from Wisconsin or not from Green Bay or who've not visited Lambeau Field, what's one of the first things or one of the many things you hear about it, aside from weather, like about the stadium or the neighborhood or anything like that?
Just a ass ton of white people.
I'm here to confirm that is 100% accurate. That part I was not shocked by, I should say. But I think what I've heard over the years from people who visited or gone to games, I was supposed to go to a game last year, kid got sick, car stuff driving, is that it's this gigantic NFL stadium in the middle of like middle class neighborhood.
Yes, that is exactly how I think of it.
And I don't think that's wrong. It's certainly not like a, uptown metropolitan area by any means. And it's likely because I'm from Arlington, Texas, that is, that it didn't stand out to me as that weird because it's exactly how the Cowboy Stadium is. Like, you drive through some pretty spare neighborhoods, depending on which angle you're coming from, if you're not just like right off the highway. And then there is the stadium. AT&T Stadium gets a little bit more credit because it's adjacent to the stadium that's home to like the XFL champion Renegades.
Yeah,
and the Texas Rangers. But the Packers Stadium, Lambeau Field, that is, it's 100 times nicer than I would have ever imagined. Everything inside, at least the area that I was on par with the AT&T Stadium experience, except for the aesthetic was old school Rangers ballpark in Arlington. But highly recommend.
Was there a world-renowned and a world-class art gallery? Or is that exclusive to AT&T Stadium, where you go for a football game, but you got some art to look at if you're into that?
not in the stadium, but adjacent to the stadium, the street across the way, it is literally Murderer's Row of every single home is clearly like redone to be an Airbnb, and they have like an over-the-top bit going on. There's like a 30-foot Lombardi trophy. There's one place that has like full 6-foot tall Green Bay Packer players like in their backyard, not humans, obviously. I don't know what they were made of. Fences covered in green and gold.
Do you think they were real
Like,
dolls?
You know, in this day and age, they did say by like 2023 we would be there. So
Just say
I wouldn't put it past them. But you got to think they are printing money, whatever, 8 to 10 times a year that people are going up there for games. Like full bay windows and everything facing the stadium. That was a sight to see. You don't see that in Arlington.
So now I'm curious. I want to look
Walmart.
in to see what one of these runs for like a game weekend.
That's smarter than me. I'm an idiot. And I was like, well, what would it cost to buy a house over there? And there's like 2.
See, you're
the
thinking
street over.
You're thinking big. You're thinking like, how can I make money? I'm trying to just throw my money away.
Would this be the equivalent of, I don't know, buying a house on the practice horse track in Saratoga Springs, except for not for $4 million, maybe for 400,000?
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, Lambeau, check it off the list.
Okay.
Would I recommend it? Like, yeah, if there's a notable Cowboys game, but odds are that's going to be at a time where the scene's not nearly as strong as it is this time of year. So, like, if there was a preseason game, dive in by all means. Number 2 at 30 years and 6. It's probably been since, I don't know why I'm talking like this today. It's just my vibe.
36 is fine.
I know, it just feels like a lot. I
You're
enjoy
still
being the youngest
mid-30s.
member of our show. People don't realize that, but I am the youth of our show.
Yeah.
Randy not included. I'm sorry. Because then I would have to undercut him with producer Adam or intern Adam. Your boy has invested in the future. The future is green. And by that, I mean, I've purchased an electric lawnmower.
Wow.
So, thank you.
Well,
I'll pause for applause.
Can you give the brand name? We can give out a
3
free
letters. 3 letters. I give that free pub. Actually, I love what I got. I'm going with the Ego. I did a lot of compare and contrast and a little pre-shopping here and there. Costco had a good deal with another brand, and at the end of the day, your boy went with Ego.
Have you used
100%
it?
committed. Please respect my choice. What was that?
Have you used it?
Yeah. I've somehow pivoted from guy who cannot tell you a single type of grass, still can't, to guy who's like calculating the hours until rain is about to occur to try to figure out how low I should cut the grass, because I'm still wired like I live in Texas. I'm expecting that my grass will get scorched if there is no rain, and that is not saturated with like a season's worth of winter, whatever, water, snow, melt, whatever. So I've got to figure all that out.
I think
But
you're gonna
2
like
times,
it.
I'm all in.
I think you're going to be very, very happy with it. As you know, I am an electric guy. I find the battery easy and quick to charge. It's perfect. I don't have a huge yard, but I can do it all on one charge, which is huge. I will say I am having some issue. It's going to be, we're in an El Nino year, as you may be aware. So pretty, a little bit lower than normal temps and wet down here. And I'm having to mow. I usually go for every 2 weeks. In reality, I should be going every week. And I don't have the time. And I don't really want to. I don't like mowing the lawn because the grass gets my allergies going. We don't have to bog on this, but yeah, man, I'm assuming you have a better experience up there where it's like you could probably get away with once a month.
No. There's so much moisture up here that like the grass will just straight up grow. Like
That's very
it's
cool.
constantly growing. Like burnout is what I would experience in Texas. Like that's not happening up here. My last note on it will be, I assume you both mow and edge, depending on the layout of your lawn. Sometimes you probably could get away without edging, and I'm, no H, but
That's a first.
I've got a fully tip my cap to the professional edgers out there, because as somebody who hadn't mowed lawns in probably 25 years, I'm here to say I don't know that I edged at the time, but that shit's a lot harder than they make it seem.
It
a
is
lot harder.
Yes, that is a skill. If you are good, you can tell the difference between an amateur and a professional edge job. Just look at the driveway. That's all you have to look at. Because there's a lot. I mean, when I do it myself, I can just never get it as good as the crews can get it. I hate that. I wish Dylan was here, because I feel like Dylan would be an immaculate edger. If what I know about
you
him
know
is
what,
true.
that does seem like something he'd be randomly like, oh, I'm excellent at it.
Like
and then he probably would have like some technique of like a stake and a string down to another stake and like just go right along the line, or some trick that he learned in Eagle Scouts. Like if we find out one day Dylan was an Eagle Scout and he's been hiding that all these years, it's going to make a lot of sense. I'm going to be a little disappointed.
It would explain how he's such a good TV mounter. I feel like that's one of the final badges in Eagle Scouts. You got to mount a TV on the Cub Master or Den Masters. What, Randy? Are you a fucking Eagle Scout?
There's no way. Dylan can't even touch a fish. There's no way he's an Eagle Scout.
Okay, that's a great point. Randy does offer a very good point. Dylan won't touch fish.
But Randy, you got to also remember, like, there are many bodies of water in Central Texas. I was going to say, like, Randy's advantage is like growing up, within an hour of the Great Lakes. So I would imagine that his exposure to fishing and those things probably is more than Dylan's. But yeah, that's true. I'm a little pee when it comes to dealing with fish as well. So, I'm definitely not out there.
Well, hey, that's what's going on in KJ's world. Mr. 30-6 himself. What I want to do now is give a shout out, because we got ourselves a new sponsor. Our good friends at ROW. Step up your meat smoking fit. Step up your barbecue fit. Step up your fit in general. For getting in the zone or just out for the day, ROW is a collection of on-trend closet staples made for whatever you're up for. KJ, you could probably throw these on and go outside and edge. Do whatever you got to do.
1,000%.
Here's the deal.
I've actually been searching for a pant that would fit for both some weekend activities around the house and going out.
Listen to this. It won't weigh you down with loud neons, oversized logos, or impractical fabrics. ROW includes a classic color palette, an inclusive tailored fit that'll always be on trend and versatile enough for errands, dinner, or low-key evening. That's what we're all about these days. Mr. 30-6 himself, the king of the low-key evening. The collection features shorts, pants, joggers, polos, t-shirts, and long sleeves in a different mix and match colorways with sizes ranging from small to double XL. They've got the sweat-wicking fabrics. That's what we love. Be ready for anything, anywhere. Hidden pockets, KJ, providing extra storage without distraction. Tailored, inclusive fit, tapered styles, and classic silhouettes for all body types. How about that? A nice tonal palette, mix and match, and create a look or pair with your favorite pieces. Moving throughout your day doesn't require a wardrobe change. Each ROW item is made with soft materials and comfort first fits, designed to make you look good and feel good throughout the day. But where can you find it? If you're looking for reliable staples at an accessible price point, then shop ROW, sold exclusively at Academy Sports and Outdoors. KJ, you familiar with Academy Sports and Outdoors? I think you are.
Right stuff, the right price.
Visit academy.com/ROW or a location near you. Shop today. New sponsor alert.
New sponsor alert.
It just doesn't feel official without Dylan here to give us the new sponsor alarm. Hey, new segment alert. This week in graphics for the Sports Pod. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the sauce?
I think we have to start with the sauce, as it might take the proverbial cake of being just outright the biggest what the F.
Randy, if you may, show the folks at home this Sauce Gardner Sports Illustrated cover. Okay, we're leaning into the sauce life here. That's what's happening. And he has what appears to be, what is the word? What is on his fingers? Because he is putting off major DeSantis vibes here.
I didn't track it for pudding the first time I saw it, and I think you have to kind of know what lighting you're viewing it in. First glance, this could be blood. This could
Yeah,
be barbecue sauce.
I was
This
thinking
could
blood.
be chocolate. Like, but blood seems more fitting if this were, I don't know, UFC.
UFC
know.
or I don't know, maybe if you played somewhere on the D line, you know,
WWE.
in the trenches. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this could be a number of things depending on which filter you put on the photo, because it's like two filters away from just straight up like a bloody crime scene, but it's also giving pudding. It's also it's also giving. It looks like he stuck his hand under the dip cone machine at Dairy Queen. There's just a number of ways this is going, and his face doesn't make it any better. It's it looks like he's taking you apart, like he's like murdering you, and you're like incapacitated, and he's just like you wake up and you look, and he's just like staring you in the face, just like bathing in your blood.
So there's two things I want to admit. First, I'm going to own up to the fact that I could not follow through with my own unrewarding bit, because your boy did bring from upstairs a nice American cup of yogurt with the full intent of trying to recreate this photo on the spot. I didn't plan my exit from that, so I didn't have paper towels around to like de-clean, and I'd be doing the pod with pudding hand or yogurt hand. Nobody wants that.
Two very different hands.
I don't know if necrophilia is approaching here. If you just see the hand and or like remove it from the photo, everything about the look he's giving the camera here, that puts everything else on a whole different tone. And shout out to like the bokeh effect that they're really leaning into, or whatever, tilt, shift, focus. I don't know, but it creeps me out. I can't look at this.
Yeah, this is like mesmerizing. I feel like I'm being hypnotized. Randy, I'm sorry. Can you get this off the screen, man? This is weird. Give us the let's check out and see what our friend, the king of college football graphics, Hayes Fawcett, is up to on Twitter. Because as you are aware, Dylan, what's his name? Fayola? Dylan Rayola. Fayola is probably what people are going to call him if he has like one bad game, but it just means more. He is committed. He is the number one quarterback, and he is committed to Georgia. Why is that significant? Why is that in a graphics segment? Well, because the aforementioned Hayes Fawcett, at Hayes Fawcett 3 on Twitter, actually, dropped a graphic, and I'm going to let KJ handle this. Go ahead, bud.
So the news of Dylan Raiola, who's the number one quarterback, number one player in the nation, 2024 class, news of his decommitment, I'm trying to just confirm on my side, from the University of Nebraska, came down, I want to say 2.5, 3 months ago. I've got a good friend who is a lifelong Cornhusker fan, lives in Kansas, but whatever, not far off. But immediately when I threw this news out there that he was decommitting from the Cornhuskers, I was like, oh, tough break. His immediate response was, or wherever he decommitted from, I think it was Ohio State, and he was tied to Nebraska. The immediate feedback from him was, no, he's going to Georgia. So this isn't breaking news as much on the commitment, but it's certainly breaking the internet, if you will, when it comes to the graphic. As somebody who has far too many times brought up the University of Utah airbrushed helmet, I'm excited to report that I will no longer be referring to that helmet or uniform when talking about unnecessary tributes to those that have passed, because the Dylan Raiola commitment, for some inexplicable reason, unless you're going to tell me that the former recruiting coordinator who unfortunately passed this offseason is related, she is adorned by a very, very unnecessary halo and is the biggest focus of the photo.
His arm is around
here.
her.
And so I assume they did take a picture together. You know what I mean? Like, this is probably a real photo that was colorized and done up to be used in this manner, and they threw the halo over her. Something I didn't notice It's not the only halo in the photo.
No.
No. Because he included a photo of the defensive lineman that also passed in that tragic accident, or other player that passed in that tragic accident. I think it was a lineman, offensive lineman. He is also adorned by a halo in this photo.
Yeah, what I know about Hayes Fawcett is he puts out like all the graphics. He has his little watermark on there. This isn't meant. This is supposed to be a tribute, right? This like he meant this seriously. This is not like.
Oh yes, there's a commission being paid to this individual for this piece of work.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, let's reframe it this way.
There's even a white dove.
Exactly. Thank you. I almost forgot about that. I was too focused on the unnecessary trophies that also adorn the photo. Like, you didn't win those 2 national titles. You didn't win the Davey O'Brien or the Heisman. Like, why are they in this photo? Are you saying, okay, I'm only going to win 1 Heisman, 1 Davey O'Brien, and 2 natties? No, he's referring to recent success, I assume, but like, it's just weird. Quick question.
Uga made it too. Uga's down there.
Uga 9's present. Like, we couldn't throw a halo on Uga and be like, this is for all the Ugas that have passed.
There's been a
just
number
make this
of
a whole football in heaven.
Uga's down there in its 4-point stance.
I look to David as kind of the line of demarcation. There will be times where it's either David or Will in our group texts in which, ideas are often thrown around or memes are discussed where, is this over the line? Especially in some of our smaller group chats where it's me, you, and Landry. And I feel like, and no offense to Landry, that Landry is rightfully so a lot quicker to the trigger than maybe I am, and then me even more so than maybe David is. If this goes into the group text, do you approve any form or fashion of this or make any adjustments before this goes out to a Wash Media post?
It's just, I just don't think so. It just doesn't, it's just, the halos are weird. I don't know.
What about the 4 different fonts being used?
Maybe the families like this, and that's, I don't know, man. It just seems weird to throw it because you landed the number 1 quarterback, and it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. Unless you're going to tell me there was some backstory where she's been recruiting this guy. She was recruiting this guy. I don't know. I'm sure people are going to be really happy.
But then why include the player on there too? Like, I assume that
know.
picture was used again because they had that photo, but it makes me think of
it just feels a little
The
forced.
Wire.
Okay.
Yeah, live and in color award-winning TV show, The Wire. When I'm just completely embarrassing myself as somebody who was like the nation's top 5 quiz up guy or whatever it's called.
McNulty.
On The Wire. Now, when they were going to order flower arrangements for friends that had passed, and they wanted them to be arranged like the towers, not the Twin Towers,
those
but
towers.
like the Project Towers.
Different towers, yes.
Different tragedy too. Like, is this Dylan requesting to Hayes, like, hey, this is the graphic that I want to announce it with? Like, is he putting into the request, like, all these details? I really want this to be special. I want it to be seen as like, I'm not only joining the family, but I'm here to bring a time of healing.
Maybe he
and
is.
That football is the smallest thing, smaller than even UGA.
He's engulfing himself into the culture at UGA. Okay.
And the biggest thing here present is him.
So wait. Okay. God, he really is like very large, but I guess he's the number 1 quarterback, so whatever.
I guess.
Okay. Last thing on graphics, since we're gonna talk social media teams.
Yes.
We got to talk NFL schedule release. So this is a thing that happens every year, and it gets drawn out, and it's now a day. It is more genius marketing by the NFL. Completely understand it. It's kind of a beating. They're teasing when the schedule is going to be dropped, like weeks in advance. And it's just like, dude, I'm trying to maybe go to the Cowboys Buffalo Bills in December. I'd like to know when that is, what time. Maybe plan accordingly. Just tell me. Maybe I don't want to watch a 6-minute video of Jerry and Taylor Sheridan, creator of Yellowstone. Did you watch the Cowboys?
I watched probably 30 to 50% of every single piece that was put out there.
You could not.
Thank you.
You
to
couldn't
The Athletic
finish.
For like, no,
You couldn't finish the Cowboy one, could you?
no, it was terrible. And I'm not Yellowstone guy. Surprise. Big Ryan Bingham fan. Everything else can't do it. Yeah, man. So I think you mentioned, or we were talking about it before, how recent this whole phenomenon is, like maybe the last 4 years or so, maybe 3.
Yeah.
And obviously we focus a little bit on the Cowboys because in the past they've done some okay things. They did a music video-esque thing with Post Malone, very thin Post Malone, where, Jerry had a grill and a chain, and I believe Dak was making it rain, confusingly.
Yeah, it's all very Dakota Rain Prescott, actually.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Jerry, one key theme in all the Cowboys schedule releases is that Jerry is not only a part of it, he is the main character. He is the guy at the end. He's on the phone with Taylor Sheridan. I've never really watched Yellowstone. I know what it's about. I get it. And the whole thing is the whole thing's set up. It's like, oh, I accidentally got a copy of your schedule and you got a copy somehow of a script for my next show. We got to meet up. And then Jerry says, hey, well, what if some of my guys, some of my team audition to be in your show, Yellowstone? So they force CeeDee Lamb, they force Dak in there, and they do really, really bad auditions. And I'm sure that was a little bit of the point, but it's just painful. And then at the end, Leighton Vander Esch comes in, and Taylor Sheridan loves him because he's the wolf hunter. He's the real deal, as they would say. He's the Stapleton of NFL Cowboys. He's the real deal, man. And all your friends are going to tell you he's the real deal. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
Probably
but he
not.
also has cred because he wrote with Justin Timberlake. Yeah, so the Cowboys, we're not even going to get into rankings. There's too many pieces of crap out there to like dwell on rankings. Kudos to the Cardinals. You probably haven't seen it, and I respect them because the approach they took, it's like 27 seconds long. It's just Kyler Murray like throwing the ball back and forth in warm-ups, and then they put a graphic up with all of the games on one image. They're
Respect
like, yeah.
that. I respect that.
They probably didn't have a marketing department to design one. They've had so many changes this offseason that they're probably like, fuck it.
Fun
We
fact.
had to complete the assignment. Here you go.
Fun fact, the Cardinals have 0 primetime games.
Yikes.
You will not see Kyler Murray,
Yeah, I mean,
to my knowledge, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football.
that's rough. I get it. And there are some other big changes, which we can do that another time when we talk about schedule changes. We'll do that closer to the season. On like networks no longer own AFC, NFC. Like there's going to be a lot of things different this year. Other teams that stood out for maybe not the best reasons really quick. There was an effort by the Jaguars, which we'll talk about here in a second, to basically take the Arian Foster spoof or his interview he did on a podcast where he said the NFL is scripted. Got a lot of run. It was a very kind of funny statement, but he leaned into it. Arian Foster's kind of out there. I think we talked about it. Well, the Jags ran with it and said, okay, well, if last season was scripted, here we go. They got a guy who looks just like Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean mixed together to be like their central figure throughout the show. So it did tremendous, except for it was 8 minutes long. The Saints did the same thing. Theirs was terrible. And there were like three other teams that did TV shows. I think the Broncos did Peyton Manning in an Office spoof.
Yeah, that was okay.
Office ended 15, 20 years ago.
Still funny, bro.
I get it because it's the screensaver in the rough household. Like it's on every day. I respect it.
It's no longer, because that's been taken over. Our TV's been taken over, and now it's Toy Story.
It's Miss Rachel.
It's,
Okay.
It's Toy Story 1
I-
through 4 on loop. I've seen Toy Story 1 through 3 at least 12 times now. It's not great. But yeah,
I can respect that.
I'm taking the plunge towards anime guy because I love what the Chargers did.
Yes.
That was my favorite just because it was completely different. It's very hard to, man, I'll probably regret saying this. It's harder. There's a lot of cringe in these. In anime, this anime did not have a lot of cringe because it's anime. It's like inherently like you know what you're getting. It's self-aware. And what they did, they even took some shots. They took some shots at the Lions and their gambling problem. A lot of that going on. A lot of shade. Did you like the shade?
I do appreciate when teams aren't afraid to be like diminutive towards one another. And like the gambling thing, albeit somewhat serious, that was a perfect opportunity to make fun of somebody and to put out my favorite phone number that exists, 1-800-HOPE-NY. Because I always read as Hopeny. I don't know why.
I read it as
That's just my
Hopeny
problem.
too. It's real fun in ad reads.
The Bears did a spoof of The Bear FX TV show, which I enjoy, so I liked what they did. And they had Spice Adams in it.
There you
Didn't
go.
get a lot of attention, but I thought it was done well. A bunch of teams did my least favorite thing, and that is like the fake endorsement or fake cell phone video compilation. Hate it anytime I see it. Like the fake TikTokification video, like I can't do it. Cannot do it. And then I believe the most appreciated was the Titans, correct?
Yes. I say
Who
in a
did-
very, very confident voice. Yeah.
Kind of a TikTok-y thing, but with the miniature microphone. But they did the man on the street thing on Broadway
Yes.
during the
yes.
daytime, which I think the daytime part was key because it did not emphasize how hammered all of their contests or like all of the people who appeared on their like reel were basically. And they were all guessing the schedule based on the logos, and the responses were great.
And you know
I should have
what?
pulled the audio, but whatever.
They probably had a budget of like $15,000 and they probably came in under budget, whereas the Cowboys probably dropped $2 million to make their piece of crap. It was low production value and it delivered. So shout out to them, man. Philly
respect it.
Philly went the dog route, which I respect. Philly's having a great offseason. I hate to say it, but they are. You're not a dog guy?
Philly and Seattle both, I am a dog guy, but Philly and Seattle both did this where they were like, hey, automatic top 10 because Philly used dogs of players to do their announcements. Seattle used children of players to do their announcements, like 5 and under. As someone who owns a dog and has children under 5, I'm like, yeah, man, worlds are merging a little too much here. Like, let's spread this out. I want to see a team get, average to below average podcasters to announce their schedule.
I'm calling my shot. Within the next 2 years, Dude Perfect will be on a Dallas Cowboys schedule release. And it's
How
honestly,
are they not already?
the more that I think about it, the more shocking it is that they're not. Like you get Jerry in there and he's like throwing one up from half court. And of course he makes it. He doesn't really throw it up because his arm would fall off because he's an old man. That needs to happen. If they can go throw boomerangs at Augusta National, then they can fucking do a Cowboys schedule release. And they'll probably do it for free because they'll be super stoked to do it and they'll just get 50 million more subscribers on YouTube. Which, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the Too Much Dip show, Too Much Dip podcast on YouTube, join the thousands who have in recent weeks. How about that, Randy?
They are in for a surprise come football season when live streams are back.
Ooh.
But real quick, here's my audition for I don't know, any team, doesn't even matter. Week 16, Carolina Panthers. There you go. You cut it, you edit it, do what you want. Teams, you can take that AI it. Make me say a different team every week. It's up to you. That's my contribution to the world.
KJ's got Riz. I feel like I've got the Riz. You know why? Guess what I did on my lunch break, Randy? I went home. Went home to make some lunch. And I also poured up my AG1. I ripped open the packet, threw it in a little water bottle, swished around about 6 ounces of water, and I drank it because I normally drink it in the morning, but I forgot this morning, so it's the first thing I did when I got home. I started taking AG1 because, I'll be honest, I don't like taking a bunch of multivitamins, a bunch of different pills, and I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great And I wanted to see what the hype was about. And now we all take it. We start our day with it, unless we forget, and then we go home at lunch and do it. So what is it? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, your recovery, focus, aging, all the things. KJ, you're 30 and 6. You got to start thinking about these things, right?
I think about it every morning. AG, little shaker of water. Actually, I've lost my AG1 shaker. So I had to actually purchase a new one recently. And it's kind of refreshing. You kind of spice up the routine a little bit.
Look
Love
at
my
you.
Athletic Greens.
Well, here's the thing. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. And it contains less than 1 gram of sugar. No GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, all while still tasting good. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/bang. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/bang to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate in daily nutritional insurance. So, what are we going to do about this guy, Ja?
To quote one producer, Randy Trimbacki from the Wash Media Network and the Too Much Dip podcast, upon hearing this news, again, again, ladies and gentlemen, Ja has done it again. He found an IG Live. He found a gun.
Not even his own.
Mixed them together.
Not even his own.
Not even his own.
That's the thing. That's the thing, dude. He's got to find a different crew for a number of reasons. But, dude, why? He's been suspended from all team-related activities, which I don't really know what that means. I guess he can't go get a pickup game at the Grizz facility. He can't. I don't really know. I don't know what they've got. He's going to miss a photo shoot or two. He's going to get suspended. He's probably there's a good chance he loses his shoe deal with Nike. He didn't the first time around. I have some questions because, and I don't want to get too off track, but I'm trying to figure out when it is acceptable for a professional athlete to brandish a firearm on social media. Now, if you have the aforementioned Leighton Vander Esch, Cowboys linebacker, avid hunter, outdoorsman. If he's out coming back from a turkey hunt, he's got a shotgun, and he posts a photo. Different circumstances, right? I'm just wondering, I don't know if that's Ja's gun, if he's carrying that legally. I don't really know. I think he said the last time around that wasn't his gun, but whatever. So I'm just wondering,
that was key to realizing why he didn't get in more trouble, because there was no way to prove he brought the gun in or that it was his gun. He very well could have just been showing a gun.
Yes, because if it was his gun, it would have meant he traveled with it the first time around.
Correct. And there were a lot of things.
But I'm just curious, when, I don't know, I'm trying to look at this objectively and be okay, we obviously, we have a firearm debate in this country. And I'm just...
Are you going to say where Ja's 2A rights?
Yeah, well, hey, maybe I've seen that kicked around. Maybe he's just an advocate. In which case, you know what I mean? It's I don't know, man. I'm trying to give Ja the benefit of the doubt, but then you look at some of the stuff. I think there was an incident with the Pacers after a Pacers Grizz game where he was in a Suburban with some people and got in an altercation with some guys in the Pacers group, and a red light, a red dot appeared. Whether that was a laser pointer or from a sighted weapon, we don't know. But it doesn't add up well. So the guy's fumbling the bag, and it looks like it's an all-time fumble, man.
Is it bad to feel I kind of want an image of Ja in one of those old keychain laser pointers It's like the silver twist keychain laser pointers.
Those are
He's
so
just
cheap.
pointing that out,
Dude,
pointing that out the window.
why did everybody in like 6th grade go through the laser pointer phase? Like the little laser, you could get the pen.
Yeah.
And like your teacher turned around to write like, I don't know, you're in Spanish class, Miss Rogers turns around to write something on the board and just, oh, she's got a laser dot on her butt. That's hilarious. That's the funniest thing we've ever fucking seen. I cannot believe the level of comedy going down in this classroom.
I was all in on both laser pointers and keychain sound machines. They had like 8 little tiny buttons, and it inevitably one was like a grenade sound for some reason because that was an awesome sound.
Cool. It was a different time.
Yeah, bring those back. Okay. I had to see really quickly what Ja's age was because my immediate thought is this has a lot to do with age. He's 23. None of that excuses anything. This is not like a preface to a boys will be boys thing. But I do think that there's a lot to be said for like the underdeveloped brain, not to excuse any of it, but to maybe understand more of it. Because I think that it's hard for people, including myself sometimes, to understand you stand to lose so many millions, many millions. And he will soon. He lost like $800, maybe $600,000 just for the games that he missed during this season. It's projected that he's going to miss double-digit games for this suspension, which will no doubt be well over, a few $1 million for him. I don't have his contract up here. And I don't know that this goes back to any individual. It's not an upbringing thing with Ja by my understanding. I think the general account is like he was not one who was raised in like some hard, rough upbringing type thing where like, oh, you just can't shake his past, quote unquote, like narrative that I think was very played in the 90s and 2000s for, young black athletes and NBA players. Makes me think of Pac-Man Jones a lot. Like, or Aqib Talib maybe.
Oh,
where you just have, granted, Aqib Talib's got, body in his circle. I think even Pac-Man might be close to one too. I don't think Ja's on that level yet, but these were the type of things that we saw in those early careers where it's just like they kept playing through it because they were both exceptional players, albeit NFL and, role players on defense. But like the guy has so much to lose that I think any rational person is like, oh my gosh, can't you see all that you have to lose? But if you're that individual, you're like, no, because I don't worry about any of that.
Yeah,
I'm just that good.
It's interesting to the NFL comp with like how this would be handled if this was, I don't know, you name it, play NFL, like up,
Julian Edelman.
Justin Herbert.
He was courtside this week. So. Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, but seriously, like, you think about like how how it's compared to the NBA and how he is the face of the franchise, and like quite literally like one of 5 guys on his team on the court at any given time, right? Yeah. Whereas like the NFL, it's just different. And you feel like that because it is more of a violent sport. Same with UFC. You get away with a little more stuff. That's why they're able to, the Greg Hardys of the world are able to get signed. Yeah, that's right.
I had a recent update on Greg Hardy the other day that he was working for Spectrum, selling Spectrum in a Walmart.
Yeah, I saw that. That's interesting. I guess his days of bare knuckle boxing are behind him. I don't know.
Yeah, ever since he and I shared a flight back from Vegas after Dylan's bachelor party, his life hadn't gone so well.
Imagine buying internet from the Prince of War.
You gonna buy this or not?
That was his nickname.
Yes, of course.
That's what he went by. Man, I don't know. I don't know what to say. The Grizzlies, man, I was rooting against them for a number of reasons. And now I'm kind of like feeling bad for them because they've got, not only do they have the Dylan Brooks thing, which under no circumstances will he be back in Memphis, apparently. And now they've got this. He's going to be suspended. He's probably going to get 20 games. I don't know. I feel like there's not much precedent for this outside of what happened last time around. But
Gilbert Arenas is like the only other thing. He brought guns into the locker room to settle a bet and threatening, I can't even remember the other guy's name, who was notable as well. It's tremendous because Gilbert does content now, and he's very candid about it. But he looks at his as like somewhat different situation when he talks about Ja Morant. I will say the one thing that I hope that comes of this is that we don't have like, I don't know. It's starting to approach like the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark level of like every TV voice immediately is like coming out doing this, like having the same position on Ja Morant. Like, I'll be honest. I don't know the individual. I don't want to see a negative outcome. I'm not going to sit here and tell him what he should and shouldn't do, like to protect his future and life and like the influence on children. Like, that's not my take. I'm not trying to be hot take guy or anti-hot take guy. It's just, I'm not going to pretend to care to the extent of like Skip Bayless is going to get out on TV and say, you cannot be doing this and that. And your disappointment to, the individual look up to you and like, yeah, sure. So is AI. And AI's on State Farm commercials or something like that. Like, it works out.
Yeah. And even when I was trying to look at it in the best, like trying to make an argument for him, which I did fail at right off the bat, it was just, there's really he's just got to look, they sent him to rehab last time around or whatever. He's just got to find new friends who don't go live. Nothing good comes from live. We've said that a number of times on this show. Really, honestly, going live after the sun goes down is never a good idea. And I don't know if it was nighttime when this went down, but it doesn't matter. Just don't go live. You got everything to lose. All you have to do is say the wrong thing, or I don't know, maybe pull out your handgun inexplicably.
See, I didn't watch the full video, but I did catch the context.
NBA Youngboy.
About that somebody else, like whoever was filming it, as soon as they saw him retrieve the gun from the glove compartment, stopped filming. Okay, so clearly it's been a discussion within the circle.
Okay, you know what? I didn't know that. That gives me a little more hope. Like, hey, man, I thought we talked about this.
But it shouldn't be live anyway. Like, that should have been the line of like, if I'm within 50 feet of a gun, drugs, a woman that's, not, I don't know, whatever. Like, whatever it may be.
A lady of the night.
No live. Lady of the night, man of the night, who cares? Like,
right.
Again, maybe your line is better. Just no going live unless you're at like a children's gala. Just do those things present.
Just do a story. Just do stories, and you can always take it. You can review it before you post it. Do a reel.
True.
And you can run it by him like, hey, is this good? There's no firearms or nothing that's going to cost you, I don't know, your career in this reel before we post. Run it by Randy or intern Adam.
Who knows? You could be out of town, on business and on a Lime scooter posting photos in front of a Vanessa Carlton sold out show marquee at all hours of the night and then not attending conference meetings next day. Anyways, who knows what could happen?
Man, that sounds very specific to one of us. And I don't think it's me. We don't go to conferences in this job, which is kind of sad. We need more conference. I'm going to start signing us up for shit. I'm just going to like put Will and Dylan's name on there. They're like, dude, what is this conference in Topeka? I'm like, oh, dude, it's a podcast movement, Topeka, from Midwest.
Will's like, sorry, I'm in Tokyo for Fashion Week. I'll be back.
Yeah,
I can't make it.
Will's got to go to Micronesia for something. Are you stoked on the finals, the conference finals?
I will go back and verify, but I think when we did the quick little, well, who do you want to see? Your team's not in it. So like, who would you like to see? I think my initial initial response was the Heat and the Nuggets, because I am like growing to be a huge Eric Spoelstra fan. Don't know why I didn't really care for him early on, but
because of the Mavs,
unquestionably hard. Yeah, that's probably why. The 06 finals is probably it. And I guess maybe was that Riley and
that was
the
Riley.
Head coach.
Yeah, that was Riley,
but
I believe.
Spoelstra was on the team, I believe, like an assistant. And then he took over afterwards. But I think I might be wrong. Either way. But yeah, obviously didn't like him because of the Mavs finals. But this is incredible to see. We don't think about the fact that they won they didn't win the bubble year, but they were in the finals the bubble year. They've endured Rachel Nichols. they've brought on Kyle Lowry, and it's kind of been a net positive, but like not anything distraction worthy. You keep Bam Adebayo happy. Jimmy's happy. Like, there's a lot that could go wrong with the personalities on that team. Not that Bam or Kyle or anything like that, but like we've seen it with Jimmy Butler and other places that if somebody is not max effort type of guy, he might punch you, or he might, it might be a very difficult place to be. I think he's the one that punched Karl Anthony Towns, right?
They definitely got into it. He's willing to go at a franchise player, which
I
gotta
love.
love. I love it too. And I, for the reasons you outlined, I do not mind the Heat. I don't like Tyler Hero, but he's not going to play. He's hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt.
So it is kind of funny to me. Like if they were to win it all, it's like, dude, you didn't even play in the playoffs, which is very, very spiteful. And he's never really done anything to me personally. But by the way, to your point, Eric Spoelstra, he's been with that organization since 1997 in some capacity, which is insane tenure. And yeah, he was there for the second Mavs series with the Heat. But he's a great coach.
I don't want the Celtics to win. I'm sorry to cut you off there.
No, I don't want the Celtics. Was absolutely devastated yesterday. I was talking with Will DeFries, a noted Alabama fan. We're all excited. Got a game 7. He said he tuned in. It was a close game in the second quarter. Me the same. I had to go run an errand, got back, totally expecting to like throw it on for the fourth. It was like a 28-point game when I turned it on or something. I couldn't believe it. My pipe dream was Jokic Embiid. Finals would have been phenomenal because, you had that whole tiff over the MVP, which Embiid did win, and deservingly so. But if Jokic won it, I wouldn't have been mad. But that didn't happen, dude. And Embiid's getting the Dirk treatment from, pre-championship Dirk days when it's like, okay, we need to have that conversation. And people are having that conversation about Embiid. Harden, it's like, well, of course, this is par for the course with him. You think Harden's going to show up in Game 7. There's a long history there of that not working out. And that bums me out because I've grown to appreciate James Harden. It helps that he's not on the Rockets anymore. But
Doc Rivers losing 10 Game 7s.
It's
just a wild stat. Like, I respect his career, but geez, that's a lot, man.
He's not going to make it. There's too many good coaches out there. They got to do something.
Which, by the way, did you expect Monty Williams to get fired by the Suns?
No. I thought they would do some personnel changes. I thought they would maybe move Ayton, get some guys in there, build around, get rid of CP3, get rid of Ayton, build around Booker and KD. Shocker. But yeah, I did not see that. Their owner's kind of flexing a little bit. Brand new owner. He's apparent. I don't know. It's funny because Woj had that tweet saying that he was very, very involved in running the basketball operations, and then he removed that. He deleted the tweet or removed it from his column. It's like, well, went a little far there. So I don't know. This is the same owner that Jokic gave a light forearm to that flopped. So I think this guy might suck. He's given me like 1999 Mark Cuban vibes, which was a fun bit, but now looking back on it, it's just kind of embarrassing.
Real quick, I mean, we've already professed like our support of the Nuggets. I think we wait and talk some Lakers Nuggets when this series kicks off. But the NBA lottery is tomorrow night, which I typically have very little interest in. I won't even make my default joke because, unfortunately, we've had recent passing. Prayers to the Gilbert family, who I'm sure they're doing okay.
Oh yeah, man. I forgot, man. That's a bummer. I don't know much about him, but yeah, we don't have to harp on it. But that was.
But it was the one visual bit that I could remember was you would remember the bow tie and the Cavs somehow landing the top pick, even though it only happened twice. It was a big deal. You're likely going to get Ben Wallace or insert any other name, any other like 90s to 2000s random like Hall of Fame level big. I don't know, Hakeem maybe. Somebody's going to be present who has no interest in being there.
Oh, God. Are they sending Dirk?
Year after year, I hope not.
Oh.
Michael Finley needs to be like the default guy. Year after year, it's somebody who has no business wasting their time as a Hall of Famer at this level of event. And, they do it every year.
It's painfully awkward, especially when like the when it gets down close and like you got a guy who's up there and they had second best odds and they end up with like the 5th pick and they just have failed smile and they're just kind of like, okay, camera is definitely on me. Gonna just kind of sit here and just, darn it, crap.
And sometimes they're they're part of the organization. Other times they're kind of just the ambassador. But even if they're part of the organization, like there's no level of anger they can show.
No.
Like you can't even be a sports fan and just be like, are you kidding me? Like, and they should allow like NFL draft level sports fandom of like, I don't necessarily need them to cuss, but I could use some emotion there. This isn't the Academy Awards. Like this isn't a hold your applause till the end type situation. Like add some emotion and then maybe we get something out of this.
They should send Dolphins fan from the draft a few years ago. The Heat need to send him. That needs to be their ambassador.
For every pick that does not change, it's his clap.
It's like, okay.
The Mavs have the 10th best odds to get the first overall pick, correct?
Yeah, they've got a 20% chance of falling out of the lottery, which means they would convey that pick. And it would be a legitimate disaster for the franchise. Yeah. And I kind of think it's going to happen. But maybe that's just because I woke up at 4:30 this morning and I'm in kind of a little pissy mood. 2 and 3 odds.
That's probably not 2 out of 3, I guess. Whatever.
200% is what you're looking for.
2/3.
It's a callback.
I don't know why. My my odds are always off. That they'll stay at 10. But they do have like a 15% chance of getting in the top 4. But as you mentioned, a 20% chance of falling out of the top 10.
Don't check our math.
I will be tuned in for that.
Me too. All right. Well, you want to party?
We have a Game 7.
Get on out of here.
Before then, we at least need to say like our hopes and prayers for Game 7.
I'm on edge, dude. I want to go home and take a nap. I love a Game 7. It's great that we're a part of it. The Dallas Stars I'm talking about, but oh boy. I know I'm going to regret not going. Brett's mad that I'm not going. Whatever. I think the Stars win 3-1. That's my official prediction.
It's in Dallas. We have a good puck drop time, which
7 o'clock.
Me, Mr. Hockey Guy, but like 7's a lot better here.
ESPN game.
Yeah, I'll be all in on it. I just hope it's not one of those like last night where it's like puck drops. I do kids' bedtime routine. I come back and it's just not even worth, like you waste the rest of your night. Just like you were talking about with the Celtics game. Like you tune out for a little bit and you're like excited to commit another hour and a half of sports fanning. And now you're watching another episode of Fear the Walking Dead.
That's a bad choice. Bad decision, coach. I have never heard an NHL playoff arena that quiet. Even when the game was still in reach. I mean, it was like a 2-goal game and that place was dead. It's like they knew. It was beyond weird in Edmonton last night, man. I was like, I thought it was something with like the audio, but like they were commenting, the play-by-play guy was like, you could hear a pin drop in here. And it was very, very strange.
Complete opposite of Boston. I forgot it earlier, but that was
a great scene.
A lot. Let's sports party.
This is the part of the pod where not only do we talk sports, but we party at the same time. We're at Oak Hill this week, upstate New York-ish, outside of Rochester. About an hour east of Buffalo. PGA Championship. Last hosted the PGA in 2013, where the great Jason Duffner got his major. I'm excited. Did this catch you by surprise? Because a lot of people were not ready for this major creeping up on them. They were still stoked on the Nelson from this last weekend. Shout out Jason Day.
I think because the Nelson occurred is what led me to be like, okay, there's another major near. Because I've grown up around the Colonial and the Nelson always being, the pre-party for an actual major. Like, so you get half of a field, or it's just always oddly placed. The Colonial, of course, not slated like usual this year. But real quick, with Jason Day winning in the last time, I guess the place he won first being the Nelson, I hate that people keep including that fact because it's a different course. Nothing is the same aside from the name.
You're right. We're in McKinney, not Las Colinas.
It's an hour away, almost.
Very, very. McKinney is not close. It's out where the Dude Perfect guys and hashtag Chad live.
Any quick insight, picks, thoughts about the upcoming PGA Championship? John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler tied for best odds at plus 750.
I don't like either of those guys. Give me Patrick Cantlay. It's playing long. From what I understand, you got to drive it long and straight. And Patrick Cantlay is like top 5 in driving. So he's a mix of the two. So give me Cantlay. As much of a beating as that's going to be on Sunday when I'm watching him take 2.5 minutes over each shot. God, what a beating this is going to be. Whatever. Hey, Bryson wants to live to 120. DJ. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He won in Tulsa this week on the Live Tour, which, don't look now, the crowds are picking up. And your boy did spend all that non-Celtics game time with the Live Tour on. There was a little weather delay just like the Nelson, but keep an eye out.
I heard
it means it's going to fold soon.
I heard the CW cut out. Like they once it ran out of its allotted time, they switched programming in a lot of markets. So that's a real bummer when you got two of the biggest names, Cam Smith and DJ dueling. So yeah, it's a
outing
tough
myself
scene.
as I was not tuned in at that time to tell you which way it went here in Madison.
We've exposed KJ, ladies and gentlemen.
Speaking of Live, Bryson, real quick, you know this better than I do.
He thinks he can live to 120. He's slimmed down. He's not doing the bulk anymore. He's doing a longevity play. Clearly been reading Dr. David Sinclair's book. Look, people want to mock him for a lot of things, and I think he deserves it, but this is not crazy. 120 is going to be in play in our kids' generation.
Yeah. I've got a 104-year-old grandmother that's not my grandmother. It's like my granddad's ex-wife or whatever, who apparently lives in Milwaukee, whom I never met and never knew about until like a week ago. So nothing to do with my genes, but apparently whatever.
So you don't really have a...
I've got a Facebook friend of a Facebook friend who's 120.
Somebody I've heard of.
I agree that's not crazy. A lot of stuff that Bryson has done is not crazy. He's just neurotic and communicates poorly. I think that's fair.
He runs into the issue that anyone who gets into that kind of stuff, whether it's sauna, cold plunge, diets, they talk about it and people are just rolling their eyes and they can't. Nobody wants to hear about it because it's probably difficult. It is obviously difficult to achieve, and we know that we're never going to do it. So we roll our eyes and we marginalize Bryson, and he is kind of a douche. But shout out to him, SMU's own.
Yeah, 8 AAC championships.
Nice guy, though. Nice guy. Give a shout out to your Renegades.
Arlington Renegades I keep wanting to call it a national championship, an XFL championship. They were handed hardware by Fast and Furious's own Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm not here to call it a success or failure. I have no idea about the numbers. You just heard me profess future support for the Live Tour, so don't listen to anything I say on that. But I will say there's a lot more traction around the XFL than I feel I've heard anything about the USFL, and it's 4 weeks in. So hopefully that means we get at least another year or two of the XFL and that chain catches, because I've enjoyed what I did watch. I don't love the thought of a 6-6 champion beating the most followed and appreciated team in the league like they did with the DC Renegades, but hats off to them for completing a season. Wasn't a small feat.
Big game, Bob. Bob Stoops, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, what?
No. I appreciate you mentioning it because I wrote it in the notes and completely forgot to mention it.
Yeah. Well, you've been exposed multiple times on this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Dylan.
Any parting thoughts?
No, we'll be back. Hopefully there'll be 3 of us.
Otherwise, we're going to have to just keep Randy's mic up the whole time. Randy, what do you think, man? How was that show today?
Oh, it was a great show. I got to say that this was the second year the Chargers did the anime little intro. And, last year they got a shot at the Jaguars and that one guy, Urban Meyer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That one guy.
So it was good to see them run it back.
WIRE, Jaguars.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate it. I can't wait for more Taylor Swift and hentai memes. I think the people are loving them. I got outed on Instagram for trying to call Randy out on it, and all of Randy backers like came to his defense. So
Yeah, you messed with the wrong puppy. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.
When my team wins a big game, it's good.